Investigators say another gun has been found at a Lexington high school, the third one there in the last 2 weeks. What school leaders and parents are saying about it tonight.
I think he just wasn't really thinking.
Police arrest a man they say set a wildfire in eastern Kentucky because he wanted more attention on his Facebook page.
It's a new way to battle the drug problem in Kentucky. We'll introduce you to the Lexington Police overdose detective.
This is WKYT News at 6.
Good evening to you. School leaders call it disturbing. They say for the third time in the last 2 weeks, a student has brought a gun to Tates Creek High School in Lexington.
Investigators found the latest gun on campus this morning, and tonight, school leaders say this reflects some problems going on in the surrounding neighborhoods. WKYT's Hillary Thornton has our top story at 6.
I believe we're doing a terrible job at the moment as far as protecting our children.
That is the reaction of one Tates Creek High School parent after hearing a third gun was found on campus in just 2 weeks. But he doesn't necessarily feel it is a school issue, but instead a community issue, something school leaders and law enforcement are echoing.
We have to figure out what is it that's making them feel unsafe. We need to find out what's going on, if there's something in the community going on.
Today, a teenager who should have been in school spotted in a park by Lexington police. An officer bringing the student to school. The same scenario as the last gun incident.
These children weren't compelled. They weren't in our custody under arrest. These were both weapons that were hidden in intimate areas that would only be found through a very comprehensive search. And we don't have that type of legal right in the situation we're in contact with.
Because of that, an extensive search not done until the student was on campus. Today, a search by school district, law enforcement, and administrators finding a loaded gun. That student is now facing charges.
Yeah, today's third incident is really troublesome. And I'm glad it ended as well as it did, but it's still no victory when you have a gun at school at all.
Principal Mukes has been in this school for decades. It is a place that means a lot to him. It is also a place that he says they've never had to deal with the issue of guns like this before.
Seeing the neighborhood change. It's not the same neighborhood as I came when it was 27 years ago, and I think with the change has brought about a different set of issues.
In Lexington, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
A community forum to discuss the issue is planned for Wednesday night at 6 in the high school library. The school leaders say they are considering implementing random metal detector checks for all the students.
He had dreams of becoming a weatherman, but police say he took it too far. Tonight, they've arrested a man they say started a forest fire in Letcher County. Police say 24-year-old Johnny Mullins set the fire to draw attention to videos he posted on his Facebook page. WKYT's Sean Moody has the story.
Just take a look behind me and look what we are dealing with.
That's 24-year-old Johnny Mullins. He's pretty well known in Jenkins.
Miss Mullins does a weather forecast on the Facebook. People like it because he's here. Everybody knows him.
Jenkins Police Chief James Stevens says Mullins been busy the past few days shooting videos and pictures of wildfires for his Facebook page.
The whole area is just completely up in smoke.
But now Chief Stevens says Mullins himself was behind a fire.
As far as the feeling in the community, pretty much it's a shock thing. It's hard to believe that he actually did this.
Stevens says firefighters were called to Wheaton Hollow for a fire last Tuesday night. He thought the fire was suspicious and said he noticed Mullins nearby.
We talked a little bit. That's when he decided to go ahead and tell me what was going on.
He said Mullins admitted starting the fire to boost his online presence.
He mentioned in his statement that one of the reasons he did this was to have people follow him on the Facebook.
Jenkins police say Mullins put people's lives and property in danger. As an example, this fire stopped right here at this tree line. Then just a few steps away here is Terry Braddock's house.
I think he's a good boy. Surprised me that he would do this.
Braddock said he's known Mullins for years.
I forgive him as a person, but he, there's repercussions for something like that.
Mullins now faces a charge of second-degree arson.
People could have been killed. Property was damaged. A lot of expenses occurred because of this.
In Letcher County, Sean Moody, WKYT.
Police say the U.S. Forest Service may also pursue charges. Kentucky Division of Forestry leaders say more than 26,000 acres are burning tonight because of wildfires around the state. Firefighters hope calm weather that's in the forecast the next few days will help them get the upper hand on the fires, but they say gusty winds later in the week could be a problem.
We have red flag conditions when we get high winds, and that means that we have very severe conditions, and that if anything at all starts a fire, it's going to spread very rapidly.
Division of Forestry leaders say this is the first time in 15 years they've fully mobilized with the help of the Kentucky National Guard to fight wildfires.
Some rain would really help those firefighters, but our chances are not looking good the next few days. WKYT Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey joins us with an early look at the forecast. Chris?
Yeah, you're exactly right, Sam. Very few rain chances over the next 3 or 4 days. Really, until we get into Friday evening, the chances are very, very remote that we'll see anything coming from the skies. Low pressure just to our east kind of teased the eastern part of the state today with some rain. Look at this stuff across West Virginia and Virginia, grazing eastern Kentucky with some clouds. One more little system that is off to our west does not have very much moisture with it at all as it rolls on into town tomorrow. So your Defender radar network tomorrow may have a little more cloud cover with it, but very little in the way of precipitation. Late afternoon, early evening temperatures quickly dropping into the low and mid 50s. The 40s are just around the corner as we go through the evening. Then later this weekend of the weekend, getting my attention for a couple of reasons. Big time temperature ride is on the way. We're going to go from very mild and windy to a taste of wintertime temperatures. And oh yeah, the first flakes of the season are in the forecast. We'll show you how that pattern goes from way up to way down when I come back in 10 minutes.
New tonight, all charges have been dropped against a Clay County constable accused of theft. Back in July, police claimed that Donald Watson stole from a Shriners organization by not donating more than $700 he raised by selling onions for Shriners. The organization filed a criminal complaint, which led to theft charges. But Clay County Circuit Court workers say that Watson has now paid the money, so all charges were dropped. A hearing for a woman accused of causing a deadly crash while driving drunk has been delayed. Lexington police charged 24-year-old Alexandria Rankin with manslaughter and DUI. She was supposed to be arraigned today, but that was pushed back until Wednesday. Rankin has bonded out of jail. Last Friday, police say Rankin's car hit a truck driven by 23-year-old Robert Hattler on Athens-Boonesboro Road. Police say Hattler died at the scene.
We have all heard of homicide and robbery detectives. Every police department has them. But now, because the drug problem has become so bad in Kentucky, roles are changing for police. In Lexington, there's a new focus on getting those addicted help and putting the dealers out of business. WKYT investigative reporter Miranda Combs introduces us to the overdose detective.
For the most part,
we can put a little bit of
everything is quiet. Customers intently focused on solving their day. Conversations, if any, are light.
So what we're saying
As that can we get the fly out of here?
But occasionally, you'll find a conversation that's not that light at all. In fact, it's scary.
One guy's been sentenced and received 262 months.
These are complicated, right?
Absolutely. With these cases, there's always a lot of moving parts.
Reed Bowles and Todd Bradbury have known each other for a decade.
I was on the defense side when I first met him.
Their careers have had parallel paths. They've worked side by side.
I always respected the work he did.
Bowles is a Lexington police detective. He spent 6 years in homicide. Now he has a new title, overdose detective. His role is a change for Lexington police.
For information, I'll be 10-12 for a little while further.
Lexington is one of the few, if not the only, agencies in the state to have a detective totally focused on heroin overdoses.
How bad is heroin in Lexington right now?
It's extremely prevalent.
Bowles doesn't really have an office. His days are spent on the streets, going from overdose case to overdose case. This new role isn't as clear-cut as his homicide days. It's messy. There are losses and gains, but he's not alone.
That as we're working through and be like, Todd, am I missing something here?
Todd Bradbury is a federal prosecutor. He's a secret weapon of sorts for Bowles.
On the street, you are who they're scared of. The feds.
Yes. And we know it because we hear in jail phone calls that, well, you better stay out of Kentucky. They'll charge you with an overdose death down here.
Through federal prosecutions, Bradbury is able to lock dealers up for longer than state statute allows.
We'll sit down with the defendant and try to get their cooperation immediately, and they realize that the strength of a state law is only going to go so far. They get introduced to somebody from the U.S. Attorney's Office or the DEA. It changes the perspective drastically because the writing on the wall is something completely different and much more substantial.
Bradbury is busy. His job as a federal prosecutor has shifted just like Bowles to overdoses all the time.
90% of your cases are overdoses now?
At least. I could do it 100% of the time.
He's got 15 cases pending right now. A third of his caseload, at least, is Lexington.
What we try to do is go as many levels back as we can, or as many levels up the chain of distribution.
And to get to the high-level dealers, he needs boots on the ground, which is Bowles' specialty.
It's being patient with it and continuing to pick at it and continue to work on witnesses and the evidence that you have to try to develop something.
They can be fairly complicated cases, fairly complex, but the end result can be very good.
Both have success to back up their work. More and more federal sentences are being handed out in overdose cases. It's new territory for both of these men. Two people with a history of work in common, now charting a new path together by challenging an epidemic.
I think it's an uphill climb, but I think it's an uphill climb that is starting to pick up some momentum.
Detective Bowles isn't the only change in the department to address the overdoses. Lexington has doubled the manpower in their narcotics unit, and there's also another overdose detective. This all goes back to community policing to treat those with drug addictions as victims of circumstance and focus on getting them help while also focusing on getting the high-level dealers out of the city.
It's what we're talking about now. It's all about getting to these dealers, and it seems like they're saying if you get more federal help in, you can go higher up that chain.
Right, they can cross county lines, they can cross state lines, which makes a huge difference.
Shows you how serious the problem is when you have people full-time doing this kind of work with this drug.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Thanks, Miranda.
Police are looking for a man they say tried to rob a southern Kentucky store. What newly released surveillance video shows next on WKYT News at 6.
And later in sports, a big game in the Big Apple for the Cats tomorrow night. What Coach Cal says about the matchup with Michigan State.
Up with the latest news on WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
New tonight, police have released surveillance video showing a man wanted for an attempted robbery in Whitley County.
And the Whitley County Sheriff's Office says he tried to rob the Dollar General on Cumberland Falls Highway Saturday night. Deputies are looking for the man wearing the hat in this video. They say that when he tried to pay for some raisins, he told a clerk to give him all the money in the cash register or she would get hurt. But deputies say the clerk alerted the manager and the man took off without taking anything. New tonight, a Lexington artist has started painting a mural in honor of a 15-year-old Lexington girl killed in a shooting. Danny Green plans to work on the mural most of the week. The Lexington Legends approved her to paint it on a wall at Whitaker Bank Ballpark. The mural will honor Trinity Gay, who died after being shot outside a Lexington restaurant last month. The mural is expected to be about 25 feet high and at least 30 feet wide.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
Coming off a weekend that featured the coldest air of the season so far. Some areas yesterday, by the way, in the upper teens, and at least a couple of locations. How do we roll out there this evening? Winds are starting to lighten up just a little bit. Still getting some breezes around 4 or 5 miles per hour. But overall, with a mainly clear sky, calming winds, those temperatures are going to drop quickly now with low humidity levels, 50 to 55 into much of central and eastern Kentucky right now. We will replace those numbers with the 40s and then the 30s as we go through the overnight. Clouds are pulling away from eastern Kentucky after kind of teasing you with a little rain to the mountains of West Virginia and Virginia earlier in the day. 30s in the morning. Upper 50s, flirting with 60 tomorrow afternoon, and then a slower drop tomorrow evening toward the low 40s as we go into the late evening hour. Big changes, though, are lurking for the end of the week and into the coming weekend especially. 7 o'clock this evening through 11 o'clock, a system to our west does try to throw a little cloud cover into central and eastern Kentucky. That occurs tomorrow, so you're going to notice a little more cloud cover. Really doesn't produce a whole heck of a lot. Yeah, I guess you could see a small shower or a sprinkle show up at some point tomorrow, but is it a great enough chance to get excited about? No, it's not. Temperatures tomorrow night with a little fog into the mid-30s. So it's a warmer start to the day and will likely feature upper 50s and low 60s on Wednesday afternoon. Through Wednesday night, temperatures only drop upper 30s to around 40, and that's going to set the stage for a big warm-up for at least 2 days before the bottom drops out. And last week we were setting the stage for this. I kept saying, you know what, in about a week from now you're going to hear me talking about a 40-degree temperature drop coming. Here's a 40-degree temperature drop that is coming for the weekend. Let's go into this Friday. Gusty winds out ahead of a storm system that may have blizzard conditions, by the way, from parts of the Rockies into the high plains. Winds around here may reach 30 to 40 miles an hour at times Friday and Saturday. It's bad, bad news for the forest fire situation. The little bit of good news for that is that we're likely to feature a band of showers and thunderstorms along this front Friday night into early Saturday morning. Keep your fingers crossed on that. So let's review where we've been so far Friday into Friday night. 70s, gusty winds, showers and thunderstorms. Now let's go through the rest of the day on Saturday. Temperatures drop by Saturday night. Northwesterly winds coming across the Great Lakes and aimed right on into central and eastern Kentucky will likely pick up enough moisture to produce at least a snowflake or two into parts of central and eastern Kentucky into Saturday night and into the day on Sunday. And temperatures by then will be in the 30s. Winds are going to be a big player this weekend. We're breaking out the wind chill. This is a wind chill that we're looking at here. Through the day on Sunday, it's going to feel like it's in the 20s for the entire day. Then as we go into Sunday night, wind chills are going to be down into the teens to begin your Monday. That's a big, big drop. 72 on Friday. 75 is not out of the realm of possibility with enough sunshine. Thunder, lightning, and then by Saturday night and Sunday, some snowflakes are a possibility with highs on Sunday into the 30s. 37 may be optimistic on my part. Near 20.
No.
Near 20 for a low on Monday. Guys, that's a blast of winter coming from me.
It is. You're using that four-letter word.
I know,
now.
right? First time.
Okay, thanks, Chris.
Coach Cal picking up another recruit.
Another five-star player. This one is a point guard. And how will the young Wildcats handle Michigan State's physical style of play tomorrow night up in New York? Stay with us. Sports is next on WKYT. Kentucky is 2-0 to start this season, and on Tuesday night will try to improve on that record against a tough Michigan State team. The Spartans losing their only game of the season Friday night to Arizona, but they are physical and athletic, could give the Cats a lot of problems. And then there is the intimidating environment of playing in Madison Square Garden in New York. John Calipari said today he doesn't know how his young team will react.
I have no idea. I said last night they may pee down their leg. Have no idea. And, you know, you got some tough matchups. The War kid inside, the Bridges kid, they got the perimeter shooter. They got a couple other athletes that drive the ball. My guess after watching us, they're probably going to pass it 3 or 4 times, throw it to a wing, cut away, and try to beat the guy one-on-one. That's my guess.
So it'll be the first big test of this young season. Michigan State in New York, 7 o'clock tip-off from the Garden, part of the State Farm Champions Classic on ESPN. For the third time in a week, Cal has landed yet another five-star player. Shea Alexander verbally committing and signing with Kentucky today. Alexander, a 6'5" point guard out of Hamilton Heights Christian in Chattanooga, Tennessee. He originally committed to Florida. Alexander is rated the number 6 point guard in the South and a top 50 prospect in the class of 2017. UK women's forward Evelyn Akator is the SEC Player of the Week and the National Player of the Week, according to CollegeSportsMadness.com. Akator started her senior season with back-to-back double-doubles against Miami and Albany. Akator had 18 points, 10 boards against Miami, and then came back with a career-high 28 points, 13 rebounds, and 4 blocks against Albany Saturday. Kentucky should undoubtedly become bowl eligible this weekend as winless Austin Peay comes into Commonwealth Stadium. The Governors are coming off a 67-30 loss to Eastern Kentucky. They are 0-10. They have given up at least 41 points in all but one game. Mark Stoops believes he'll be able to keep his players focused and not overlook anybody.
It gets back to where are we going as a program and what are we going to do, and it's about our preparation, and that's how I'll challenge them. It'll be the same every week, and today is about going back out there and having that great attention to detail and getting the things fixed that we did wrong, and that's how you're going to move forward, in the future. So we'll challenge them. I don't anticipate that'll be a problem.
Cats going for that 6th win of the year that would make them bowl eligible Saturday afternoon. The kickoff is at 4:30 on the SEC network. Final home game of the season. Sam Amber, back to you.
Thank you, Rob. A final check of your first word forecast with Mr. Chris Bailey is next.
And then on the CBS Evening News, GPS for your luggage. A look at the high-tech ways airlines are helping you keep an eye on your belongings. Question for us this week. How do we feel about sunny and 70 and snow potentially?
Well, you know what? No matter what you like, this is a 7-day forecast that has it. You want a thunderstorm? We may get that Friday night. You want some warm weather? 70s on Friday. You want a little touch of wind chill, a little first flake action of the season? That's a good possibility Saturday night and Sunday too.
Have you heard of Jekyll and Hyde?
I aim to please.
That's
guys.
your forecast.
Right?
Jekyll and Hyde.
Really, it is. Yeah.
More on that on the CW next.
Thanks for watching.